Hello YouTube, I am the Art of Lego, and today I bring you my first ever Lego mock YouTube tutorial. This tutorial is going to be about one of my creations known as Tahoe. He's like the sand green dude with the weird mono eye. Some guy said looks like Crimson Typhoon or a telescope, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyways, this was one of my most requested mocks to make a tutorial on, I think. So yeah. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the torso for today. What you're going to do, we're going to build from the back to the front of the chest. You're going to take a 2x3 sand green tile, and you're going to stack two of them up. What was that? My whole entire thing just shook. But you're going to take two of these 2x3 sand green tiles and stack them on top of each other. And usually you could just take a brick, but I don't have a brick. I don't think there is a brick in sand green actually. And Tahoe is not just like one solid color. He has a bunch of different colors mixed into him. So next what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these 1x2 sand green tiles and place them here. You could totally just take a 2x2 sand green tile and just place it there, and it would do the exact same thing, but I don't have one, so I'm just working with what I got. Next, you want to take this 1x2 tile in brown and place it next to those tiles. And now that's the back basically done. We are going to now take these mixel joint pieces, these 1x2 mixel joint pieces with a ball joint on the side in dark gray, and place those on the sides of the torso. Those will create the arm connections. And in the middle, we're going to use this 1x2 dark bluish gray clip piece with a ball joint on one end and a socket on the other. When I say clip piece, it's not a clip. Next, you want to take another one of these 2x3 sand green tiles, place that on top to seal those pieces in place. We'll take another tile, guess what, 2x3, but this time in brown, and place that on top of the sand green one. And now, you're going to take this 1x2 cheese slope, apparently they're called cheese slopes. You're going to place one in brown there. You're going to place another one sand green here. This frames the chest. You're going to take this 1x2 tile in sand green and place it in the center. You're going to take this 1x1 flat tile, place it on the bottom. And you'll take this transparent orange stud and place it above the flat tile to represent his core or heart light or whatever the term you use. And that's the upper torso done. Now let's build his crotch plate. Let's build his crotch plate, not balls. And again, we're gonna start from the butt to the front. You're gonna take this 1x2 sand green tile. There's a lot of sand green. You're gonna take this bracket in brown. You're gonna take this 1x2 flat tile, also in brown, place that on the front of the bracket. You're gonna take this mixel joint piece. This is in light blue, I can't speak English, bluish gray, with a socket on the top. Then you're gonna take one of these pieces. These were used in like the Star Wars Marvel mix that Lego made that I don't really like that much. It's got two ball joints on each side of it. This is different from the one earlier, which has one ball joint on one side and one ball joint and one socket on the other side. This has two ball joints. These will create the leg connections and the waist connections. You want to take another 1x2 sand green tile, place it on top of this mixel piece, and then you want to take one of these, let's see if I can try to get this name right, 2x2 curved slope tile with the edges cut off, and you're going to place that on top, so that creates the crotch. Now this next option is totally optional if you want to do this or not. So you can either connect it like this, and that gives you the torso connection, which gives you some articulation in the waist. Or if you want, you can place a tire in between, which covers up that ball joint. So if you want, you can either have the posable but less covered up option, or you can have the less posable but more covered up option. So it's either articulation and ugliness, or detail and less articulation. It's up to you if you want to put that tire in there, but that's the entire torso assembly done. Now we will get started on, let's do the arms. So the arms are completely different. Both, like the entire arm section is just completely different. So we're gonna start with the right arm. What you wanna do is you wanna take one of these pieces again. This was used to connect the waist and eventually the head when I build that. I'm gonna take one of these pieces. I have no idea what they're called, so I'm not gonna say the name of them, but they're in sand green. And you wanna place that on top. Then you wanna take another one of these brackets, and you wanna take one of these 1x2 light bluish gray, like grate pieces. You can use a tile or if you want to, but I use grates. And you place that under this little assembly here, and that's the upper arm done. Now the arm is gonna be facing this way with the grate facing backwards and the blank section facing forwards. So like this, it's gonna be like that. So that's the upper arm done. Now for the lower arm, we're gonna build from the bottom up. You're gonna take one of these 1x2 plates in brown. There's gonna be a lot of plates in this build. You wanna take one of these 1x3 plates in light bluish gray, or in brown, if you have any, if there are any, I think so. Then you wanna take one of these mixed joint pieces, 1x2 with a socket on one end in light bluish gray. You wanna take this 1x1 bracket, place that on the front. You want to take this bracket that's facing downward instead of upwards and place that on the back. The arm is going to be facing like this. You want to take one of these 1x2 brown curved slopes and place that there. Take a 1x1 flat tile, place that on top. And then you want to take a brown clip piece, place that on the front, and that's going to be his hand. And yes, there is wrist articulation, if you want. Now for his meat hook assembly. Yes, he has meat hooks, those weird claw pieces on the arms. Sorry. Those weird claw pieces that are on his arms, those are supposed to be meat hooks. You can flip those around and give him hooks, which I thought was cool. You want to take one of these 1x2 tiles with a clip on the front, a 1x2, both in brown by the way, a 1x2 curved slope, a flat stud, place that on top. If you want, you can just use a tile, but I just use a stud. And then you want to take one of these bionicle claw pieces and put that on the front. That will represent his meat hook. And when you have all these put together, you have Tahoe's arm. Now, here's the thing I want to point out. If the hooks are sitting on top of this bracket, the arms are going to be bent slightly, which means you can't move them any far backward. If you want them fully straightened out, you're going to have the meat hooks sit like this, which is a little awkward. And for the meat hooks, you can either have them like this, tucked away, or you can take them off and flip them around. And boom, he has hooks. He can use those for clawing and climbing and stuff like that. Whatever you do with like a hook for your arm. And the other arm is basically just the same assembly, just mirrored. So, we're starting with the lower arm this time, apparently. 1x2 tile in sand green, 1x3 tile in sand green. Mixel joint piece in the same color. Bracket. Clip. Both in the same color. This can be whatever color you want. I just picked it in a lighter shade of gray. Curved slope. Sand green. Sangria. Flat tile. Same color. That's the lower arm. Upper arm. bracket. Great piece on the bracket. Mixer joint piece. Weird assembly. Still in sand green, because I don't think they have any in brown, which sucks. That's the arm. Meat hooks, same assembly, just instead of brown, you use sand green. And when you put those together, you have yourselves a pair of Tahoe arms with hooks. You can hook into your face. Next up, the legs. So now the upper legs are different, but the lower legs are the exact same. They're just mirrored. That includes the feet as well. So for the right upper leg, did my camera focused? I think so. For the right upper leg, you're gonna take another one of these mixel pieces. You're gonna take this 1x2 brown cheese slope. If you want, you don't have to use a cheese slope. You can just use like a curved piece and a tile for the top of the upper legs. I just used a cheese slope because I don't know why not. A bracket that goes under, and again, you can use a grill tile like I did on my arms, or you can use like a regular tile. But you just place that on the front if it'll stick. Go. There you go. Thank you. The legs are going to be facing this way, with the cheese slope angling backwards and the tile facing forwards. Now, the other upper leg is basically the exact same, with the bracket tile on the underside of the mixer joint, except the cheese slope is in sand green instead of brown. And there you have yourselves some upper legs. Now the lower legs, so we're going to go from, let's go from the top down. Actually, no, we'll go from the bottom up. So, shoot. You take a 1x3 dark bluish gray tile. You take another mixer joint with a socket on one end. You take this little clip piece, or Among Us plate, as I've heard some people call it, because they want to take a crewmate. Duh. That's going to be connected to the feet, and that's going to be connected to the upper leg. And then you want to take another 1x3 dark bluish gray tile and stick that on the top, like so. You want to take a 1x2 tile and place that towards the bottom, not towards the top. So that way you can take these two pieces. Another one of these weird pieces, a 1x3 large slope thing, whatever, in light bluish gray. That's going to create the knee pad, and I guess sort of these bell bottoms, I guess. And then you got to take a cheese slope and place that on the bottom. And that's the front done. But for the sides, you're going to take a bracket piece that is 2 studs high instead of 1 stud, and you got to take a Nexonite tile, which looks like this, both in light bluish gray. You're going to connect it like this, and then you're going to take the leg and you're going to place this assembly under it. So the Nexonite tile faces upward, and it matches with the knee pad, sort of. So that's one lower leg done. And now we move on to the feet, and the feet are incredibly simple. They require 4 pieces. 1x3 tile, clip, cheese slope on the back, cheese slope on the front, and then that connects into the leg, and these are your lower legs. Now, again, the lower legs are the exact same, just mirrored, so you just take this design and mirror it to the other side, and then you take your upper legs, connect them into the lower legs, and now you have yourself some legs for a green man. You can go away. And now let's get on to the head. So you're going to take one of these headlight bricks. You're going to take this piece. It's like a bar with it's a ball joint with like a big bar on the side of it. And you see this hole? There's paint on this piece because I was younger and tried to paint my pieces. Don't worry about that. I know it's a sin. But you take the bar and put it in the hole of the headlight brick. That will create the neck connection. And then you want to take a 1x1 tile, not flat, with a stud on top. Place that on the back. T-slope. Face it. Make it facing upwards instead of downwards. That kind of looks like a foot. I might use that actually. And then you want to take one of these 1x2 jumper plates and place that on the top of the head so it looks like this. Then you want to take one of these cylinder pieces, place that on the front. You want to take a stud in dark bluish gray, place that on the front, and then you want to take a trans orange stud with a hole in the center and place that on top of the dark bluish gray stud. So that creates sort of like a pupil. And there's your head. And now for additional accessories, which is going to be his weapon, his other weapon, and his jetpack. So let's start with his jetpack. You take one of these pieces. I have no idea what they're called. They kind of look like a camera. You take a trans orange stud. If you want, you can use one with a hole in it and one that doesn't have a hole in it. I use one with a hole in it so you can stick like a fire piece in the bottom, but you place that on the bottom, like so. That also looks like a pupil. This could be like a new face design. Tahoe face 2.0. You want to take one of these stud with a bar piece on the side, place it there, and then you want to take one of these round flat studs and place it on the side. And then you mirror that to the other side. That's going to be the side of the jetpack. Now, please note, this is going to be how it connects into Tahoe's back. You want to make sure these studs are exposed and that this hole in the back is covered. To do that, you take one of these things, kind of looks like Wally's face. If you've seen Wall-E, great movie. You want to place that on the back, like this. Studs, no studs. No studs is the back of the jetpack. Studs is where it connects into his back. You want to take another one of these tiles, place that on top, and then you want to take a clip piece, and you want to angle it, so that way Tahoe can store his weapon, and that's his jetpack. And now for his weapon. Sensei Wu pole. Not just this, it's a Sensei Wu pole. But that's the back of the weapon. We're actually going to do this little assembly first. So you want to take one of these lightsaber handles, but the long version. If you don't have the long version, that is okay. You can use the shorter lightsaber handle version. But this is the version I used. You want to take a gold stud. Doesn't have to be gold if you don't want it to. With a hole in it. This one has to be a hole in it if you want the specific pieces to connect to it. You place it on one end, you place another one on the other end. You take your pole piece, stick that in one end of the staff, and then you take one of these Ninjago sword pieces and stick that onto the other end of the staff, and that is Tahoe's weapon. So let's begin with the final assembly now. If I can find where I put his torso. There it is. I just had these pieces scattered all over the place, so yeah, I know, not very organized. So we have our torso. We connect in our legs. Just like so. And now he stands. And yes, because this clip piece can move in this leg section, he has an ankle tilt. Because it doesn't have to stand all weird. You connect in his arms, just like so. And again, you can either have the meat hooks down, or you can have the meat hooks stored away, like so. You want to connect in his head, just like that. You can't really see his head, you want to put his jetpack in. And then you can take his weapon. You can either put it in his hand, like this, or you can store it on his back, like a cool guy. And there you have yourselves a Tahoe. Now again, this is my first tutorial on how to make one of my mocks, so it may not be the best. I will improve eventually if I keep making videos. But yeah, I hope this tutorial helped you, and if you ever wanted to build one of these guys, well then, here's that for you. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.